Well, it's a wet, miserable winter day here in Scotland. I've just returned from Vietnam, where I've been for the last 3 months, and I've noticed that my right side suspension unit is lower, and I think I've got another snapped spring. So this is the one that I replaced earlier, and you can see there's quite a bit of difference in the height of the wing compared to the tyre. I'll just go back round again. So you can see it's not very much at all, but it's fine. But I'll obviously have to replace it. So that's the start of today's video. Wet dreich Scottish weather. Well, that's me finished. 12 o'clock, so about an hour and a half, I think. I got a matching pair of struts, so it was £50. And I thought, as a spare, I'll get a high level brake light. It looks in really good condition, that one, so hopefully it works. So that's that. I'm absolutely sweating my buns off. You have to wear safety shoes and high-vis clothing. So this is where I am, Copart Recycling, also known as You Pull It. Nice dirty fingers. Anyway, time to get down the road, get a nice wee cup of tea, and then think about fitting. I'll fit one strut today, then I'll fit the other one after that. Okay, cheers. Well, here we are on a cold winter's day. This is the strut that I've purchased. I've just cut off with my trusty grinder. Is it still hot? No, it's okay. Yeah, it's still bloody hot. The ball joint for the drop link, which they never come out here in Scotland because of the rust. The salt just seizes everything up. So I've just used this cutter. You go along the edge as close as you can, and essentially just cut through it, as you can see at that with that view. Just cut through it as much as you can, and then if you have to kind of burr it down a bit, take it down. So next thing, I'm going to get the jack under the car, get the wheel off. I've got my locking wheel nuts in that case in the middle of the screen on top of the workmate. So I get the wheel off, get it jacked up, get the wheel off. Take the existing strut off and fit the new one. Yeah, normally I've got about that much, well, less than that clearance. I usually jack it up on the subframe. I don't think it's that easy to see, but anyway, one of the subframe mounts, but it's too low with the buggered spring, so I'm doing it at the point where you use the scissor jack. So that was the first thing with the broken spring. I'm assuming it's a broken spring. It's certainly making a lot of twanging sounds, and it's low, and it's been pulling this way and pulling that way when I've been driving. So anyway, let's get up and have a look. The broken part of the spring, we're all to see. So next thing is take these two bolts out. There's a couple of 12, I think they're 12s here and here that hold the ABS line and the brake line, and then of course I have to take out the top anti-roll bar or drop link nut. So hopefully that'll be straightforward. And then the next step is these 3 nuts. So let's just double check I've done the right one. It's the one to the right. Yeah, that's the one facing to the right, and then the nuts, or the bolts in this case, are there. So, I've got the right side, let's crack on. There's the rusty spring. It's pretty well corroded, that. So I suspect that's been snapped for a reasonable amount of time. It doesn't look so bad there, but it looks extremely corroded there. So that was just loose, presumably scraping off the underside of the wing every so often. But anyway, now to put the replacement in. Hopefully that goes without any hitch. It's all done and dusted. Tightened up the 3 nuts, and down here I've put a bit of anti-seize compound on the bolts, also inside. When I was taking off the old one of those sheared off. But anyway, the new ones are far better. They're in much better condition anyway. Now, one thing I did notice, this was actually up here. I really had to get that bar, you know, there and force it down to get it through. So if you get that, you might be handy to have somebody give you a hand, but you will be able to do it yourself. So anyway, that's that. The next thing I'm going to do is put the wheel back on, get the jack lowered, etc., and see how it goes. But anyway, it can't be any worse, I would imagine, than the old one, because as I mentioned before, apart from everything breaking, that one's sheared off. This one was okay, that one's fine. But yeah, very corroded looking, this one. The springs are pretty much corroded. The top's probably the best condition out of the whole thing, but I think it's when the car sits for a little while, because as I say, I was away in Vietnam for 3 months, and I think it must have been something to do with it just sitting. How that works, I don't know, but this is the first car I've ever had in my entire life where I've had to change springs. So anyway, I'll put it on and we'll do a recap. Well, that's that fitted. There's quite a big difference in the gap. There's a good 2+ inches there, maybe 3. So it was down quite far, obviously. Feels nice and solid. Now, I did actually get a matching pair from the same car. It was a 12 plate. So I will actually be swapping this over, but due to the weather at the moment, it's roughly similar, I would say, compared to the other side. But I will change this one so that it's the 2 from the same car. The reason I'm doing this is I have to go and pick up my brother for Christmas, so I needed to make sure everything was okay, and that'll be a good test for it when I go down to Stoke-on-Trent later this week. So anyway, scores on the door. So it was £25 for each strut assembly, I should say, or shock absorber, whatever you want to call it. You basically need 19mm, 17mm, 14mm nuts, so you need a 14mm socket or wrench. So you've got the bolts, one size 17, one size 19. Be prepared for them being a bit sticky, especially if you're in a place like Scotland where you get a lot of salt on the roads. But my torque wrench, manual one, that soon loosened them off. I mean, I've had the great pleasure today of doing it twice, so I had to remove them both from the car, the donor vehicle, and then I had to remove them from this vehicle, and then I had to fit the buggers. So it's been a reasonable workout today. But apart from that, there's nothing really too difficult. The only thing